Welcome everyone to Stuntin. It is my honor and indeed pleasure to welcome Mr. Gary Hines from the Sounds of Blackness, the iconic Sounds of Blackness. I believe, yes, this is a man. So it is indeed my pleasure to welcome you to Stuntin, Mr. Hines. How are you today?
I'm blessed through it all, Queen Diana. Thank you for having me on behalf of Sounds of Blackness.
Thank you for being here. And we know your time is limited, so we're just going to jump right into it. So first of all, congratulations, 50 years of being at the helm of Sounds of Blackness. How does it feel?
It's an overwhelming blessing. It's very humbling, Diana, and I'm just filled with gratitude. Thanks to God first and foremost, and to people like you and all of the media that continue to support Sounds of Blackness over these 50 years, and of course to the members themselves, our singers and band. And the interesting thing is that the current membership consists of a number of the offspring of original members. So this is kind of Sounds of Blackness second generation. I'm the only one that's been around the whole time of the current crew, but thank you for your support as well.
I think that's so wonderful. So now it's like multi-generational, and
yes,
you're just watching it like a shepherd watching over the whole thing. It's amazing. So you, the Sounds of Blackness has won 3, count them, 1, 2, 3 Grammy Awards. And you have worked with everyone from Micheal Jackson to, of course, Prince, Aretha Franklin. What does that mean to you?
Again, it's very humbling, very gratifying. It's an affirmation of what Sounds of Blackness are all about, which is to glorify God by uplifting people through Black music in all different types. That's what our name Sounds of Blackness means. Jazz, blues, gospel, hip hop, R&B, reggae, ragtime, rock and roll, all of those are Sounds of Blackness, and all of those are in our repertoire. So when we work with artists from different genres, it's just, again, an affirmation of what Sounds of Blackness is all about.
Well, you know, Fimi is a Jamaican term that means for me. And it's so good that you just mentioned reggae. So I wanted to know, like, have you worked with any reggae artists over the years? Because you have quite an extensive repertoire, as you just said.
Yes, most prominently, the great Jimmy Cliff. We recorded and performed with him in Jamaica, and across the ocean in Europe. And so a shout out to him and others as well. And it's interesting that you mentioned that, my sister, and I smile when you mention Jimmy like that, because my mom's side of the family is from Kingston, Jamaica. So, right. And I'm a native New Yorker. So I'm a quarter Jamaican man.
Oh my God, quarter jerk chicken.
How about that? Yeah.
I think that's even more wonderful. Like, it's so fortuitous to find out that you do have Jamaican blood running through your veins by your mom's.
Yeah. Yes. And as you know, as an aside, quickly, it's always important. I'm so glad you brought that up. It's important for all of us, our people, to always have that conversation with friends, strangers, people that are just meeting face to face like you and I, because with all the nuances of our history, you never know. You and I might be related. You know what I mean?
Listen, you're absolutely right. Because as I like to say to my friends and family, the boat just dropped us off in different places, but we're all connected.
That's right.
You know, I mean, so Sounds of Blackness is synonymous with like hopeful music, you know, geared towards the struggle. However, I've noticed that there's been a little bit of a shift that's especially with tracks like Time for Reparations.
Yes.
And Sick and Tired, where am I correct in saying there's a little bit of music activism that is emerging, or has that always been there?
Both points are correct, my queen. So, and for radio, and I understood this, I'll just try to make sense out of the answer and try to condense it. When George Floyd was murdered, just 5 blocks from where we rehearse, right here in the heart of this Black community in South Minneapolis, we knew that we had to do something. And what the song, the words that God gave to me, I mean, the night after he was killed, the words of the late, great Fannie Lou Hamer, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. came, and I was up 2 or 3 nights working on that song, and then of course we recorded it. But I mentioned radio a moment ago. We understand that most of radio and most of the country and really most of the world doesn't know us prior to Optimistic and 1991 and I Believe and Hold On to and the feel good songs. And so I get it that they were looking for another feel good song from Sounds of Blackness when George was killed and Breonna and just all the recent Ahmaud Arbery and on and on. But that's not how God led us. The spirit of the time, the mood was righteous indignation and outrage, and that needed to be expressed. And so that's why, and we didn't get a lot of airplay even from Black radio because they were saying this is really an aberration for that. But what they don't know, and I'll finish up the answer here, is that it was not at all an aberration. Sounds of Blackness began in protest music. As college students back at my alma mater, Macalester College, in our beginnings in 1971, we were singing "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud" and "To Be Young, Gifted and Black," Aretha Franklin and Nina Simone. We began in protest music, so they know us from Optimistic, but it was really more of a return to our roots and not an aberration.
I'm just gonna let that sink in. No, honestly, that is such an important point because, like as a Jamaican, right, living in America here, there's always been this thing of we are the other, right? Like the Black struggle here isn't a monolith. However, we are one in all of this because when we see like this facade, this is what is being seen. It's not until I open my mouth and you hear an accent or somebody else opens their mouth and you hear an accent, then you're like, oh, they're not American, right? But how we are being treated as Black people is definitely an abomination. And the fact that you have, it is steeped in history. And I mean, I know I'm going a little bit on and we can cut all of this out. But I just feel like the history that we are steeped in, especially when we came over and our religions had to be shrouded through, we're talking about like Santeria and the slaves in Brazil who hid behind the Catholic representations and still keeping their ancestors and their practices alive. And I say that to say, as being the other, an immigrant living here, it's weaved into the tapestry because we have confounded each other in the struggle.
Yes.
Yes,
it's about the African diaspora. The transatlantic slave trade, as I know you know, was international, and the effects. That the remnants of that are still international there's throughout the world. And so our ancestors enriched Europe and North America for centuries, with no remuneration whatsoever, which is why we are so behind time for reparations, which of course that call began 150 years ago for reparations. But every aspect of our movement, Queen Diana, as I know you know, has always had an anthem with it. The civil rights movement had "We Shall Overcome." The Black Power movement had "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud." Mm-hmm. And then 5 years ago, with the advent of the Black Lives Matter movement, Sounds of Blackness wrote and recorded "Black Lives Matter" for the National Black Lives Matter. Sister Alicia Garza, who was one of the, and of course now, with just last year, the theme for Juneteenth for last year was reparations, and I understand that is a continuing theme for this year for the Juneteenth celebration and commemoration, reparations. So we came out with Juneteenth celebration, and yes, we celebrate, but also it's still a call for reparations.
Indeed. It's a great segue because what does Juneteenth mean to you in 2022? What does Juneteenth mean to you?
Juneteenth to me, Queen Diana, means consciousness, Afrocentricity, awareness, historical perspective. It means freedom. It means equality. It means social justice, the movement for justice. So, as James Baldwin said, history is not the past. History is now. History is us in the present. So, Juneteenth embodies all of that. We've been calling our new song a Juneteenth celebration. When radio stations have been saying, yes, okay, we'll play it Juneteenth. We said, no. This is the Juneteenth anthem for all year long, because the spirit of Juneteenth about freedom, justice, and equality, reparations, all of that, that's 365. We commemorate and celebrate the Juneteenth holiday as a holiday on the 19th, well, technically the 20th this year. But the activity, Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King told us that we have to be what it is we want to see. So Gandhi said, if we want peace, we have to be peace. We have to embody that. So if we want freedom, we have to be freedom. We have to embody it. And that can't just happen one holiday a year. So it's a year-round reality for us.
Right. Reparations every day.
Yes.
Indeed. So let's switch gears a bit. The Fimi NFT marketplace, we're having our big launching event in New York, and we're supposed to have Sounds of Blackness being a part of that. Now, Mr. Hines, do you know anything about Web3 and NFTs or anything like that?
Yes, I'm a novice in it, but I'm learning, and Sounds of Blackness are so honored to be included. Thank you for including us. And I'm so also additionally honored that it's in New York, because I was born and raised in Yonkers, New York, as I said a little while ago. And so shout out to the East Coast, shout out to New York. And my mom, of course, Jamaica, Queens, all of that tie-in is there. So to me, there's added significance that it's in New York. But yes, Sounds of Blackness and I, our singers and man, are so honored. And we again thank you for involving and including us.
We're so happy to have you as a presence there for sure, Mr. Hines. So we do have a lot of young people who watch the Stuntin program. And as a man who has lived his life being a creative, in living your dream, what parting words, what advice would you have but for young folks who are coming up watching this and, they want to do an NFT, they want to be creative? What words of advice would you have for them, sir?
I would give them a number of words that start with P, kind of the P formula, I call it, that hopefully will make it easy to remember. As artists, first of all, either prayer or meditation, if you're not a person of a faith tradition, and that's fine too. But I say prayer and meditation just to center your art. What comes from the heart reaches the heart, and ultimately, we are more than human beings having a spiritual beings. We're spiritual beings having a human experience, and so spirit is at the heart of it. So prayer to center that meditation, and then practice every day to refine your art. Prayer and practice and perspiration. This is about sweat equity. Every day, perfecting your art, learning your art, and then perseverance. The ultimate measure for excellence is consistency. Anybody can be good for a day. So many people become so close to reaching whatever their goal is, and they stop short. So that's where perseverance comes in. So prayer, practice, perspiration, perseverance, and persistence, all of those in terms of learning and honing your craft. And then when it comes to the proliferation of NFTs or any other options that are before you, you are grounded in what it is you want to do. And you're not, because the industry, and when I say the industry, I mean the music industry and the entertainment industry, tends to want to skew your idea, especially if you're not rooted and grounded in who and what you are and what you're about. So have that grounding and have your craft ready, because when opportunities arise, they arise quickly and they can go away quickly. So when they do arise, you got to be ready.
What is that saying? Luck is when preparation meets opportunity.
I love it. Yes, my queen.
Mr. Hines, amazing interview. I thank you so much for taking the time being with us on Stuntin today. It is indeed an honor to speak to you. I feel like I'm in the presence of rare air. I can't thank you enough, sir. And it's even more special to find out that you are part Jamaican.
Yeah, I am, and very proudly. I don't have to tell you about Jamaican pride. Yes, my sister.
Indeed. Thank you so much, Mr. Hines. Thank you. We appreciate it.
God bless. Thank you.
Join us on the next episode of Stuntin. Thank you all for tuning in. See you next time.